Hey everyone, welcome to another one of our Friday community classes right here on the YouTubes. If you enjoy this content, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe to let me know you're out there. A little engagement and reciprocity goes a long way these days on the internet. So this week, I want to talk about something that I think is really important right now, and I want to begin this kind of off-the-cuff conversation with a little perspective. So one thing that I talk about all the time is that when we engage with spiritual herbalism, right, when we engage with the spirit of plants and the personhood of plants and the virtues and wisdom and magic and medicine that the plants channel into our world, we effectively remove the boundaries that would normally limit herbal medicine to the physical body. Okay, so if you think about herbal medicine, contemporary herbal medicine, pop herbalism, the conversations are pretty much always about what can this herb do for my body? How can this herb, cleanse my liver or take away my headache or lessen my anxiety, right? It's a really physical kind of container-based way of thinking, but this is new, right? This is a new thing. It's a new perspective, and it's one that is wrong, ultimately. When we go back just a few steps into pretty much close your eyes and aim at an ancestral tradition with plant medicine, you will see folks talk about the fact that plants can move and flow into any part of our lives, right? There's no physical limit. They don't stop at your skin. They can move into your relationships, your narratives, your future, your past, your perspectives and paradigms. They can go anywhere they're invited because they're fueled by the concept of love, not wooey New Age love, but the love taught by Empedocles, right, as the binding universal force, the mycelial network of the cosmos. And love is permissive, right? So wherever there's an invocation, wherever there's a calling, a prayer, and an invitation, the plants can move into that space. So I want to start the conversation there because if you don't understand that, everything else we talk about today, the mysteries that we're going to talk about today, won't click. They won't make sense. So first and foremost, this week, plants are not limited by the physical form. They are not, even when we ingest a tincture, even when we take herbal medicine internally, there is no reason why the wisdom, the energy, the effect of our relationship with that plant should stop at our skin, right? It can flow out in any direction into any part of the life path where we're asking for that to go, which is a huge part of how I do this work clinically, right? The second thing is that we are all connected, okay? Again, not in that like wooey, weirdly co-opted kind of new agey way, but when we look at pantheist, animist, earth-centered, nature-centered spiritualities of the past, again, close your eyes, point in a direction, you'll probably find the truth there. Ideally, find the ones that you come from, find your ancestral traditions and see where how these things pop up for you. So we find that the concept of creator deities, the concept of creationism becomes less and less the deeper into these nature-based relationships that we get. And rather than there being one, or sometimes in a duotheistic concept, two supreme, all-powerful, all-knowing, omnipresent deities who forged the universe out of nothing and made all the rules and the nuances. Rather than that being the case tends to be that the universe as a whole, right? So existence as a whole and all the people, places, things, laws, times, experiences, and events that happen within it are the result of an infinite number of relationships, that the universe is relationships. Everything that happens is the result of relationships happening that led to that thing existing, right? You can trace anything, anyone, anytime, anywhen, anywhere, back to a complicated network of various agreements and relationships happening that led to that thing existing, right? And so I really like this concept. If you've never read this incredible Chinese medicine book called The Web That Has No Weaver, very cool philosophy there. The first time I read it in school, totally went over my head and went against everything I believed, but now, that makes sense to me. So if we have this presupposition that the entire universe is made up of an infinite web of relationships, it means that while everyone is connected, your connections are only powerful in a limited way, right? So my connection to the room that I'm in, to this conversation, to the city that I'm in right now, to the clothes that I'm wearing are very strong, right? And maybe if you're across the Atlantic Ocean right now, we're in relationship through this video, but our direct relationship is a little less strong, right? It's still there, but it's a little less strong. And somebody that I don't know, that I've never met, that doesn't live near me, the relationship is very, very weak, right? It still exists, but it's very weak. And I bring this up because there's work to be done there. But we're all connected, and it means that in this web, we can intentionally pluck a string that connects us to anyone, anything, anywhere, anyone else, and make a connection, okay? So this is just preface to the actual conversation today. So the things we have to carry into the actual conversation today. First is that we're all connected on various levels and strengths, but we are all connected. You have access to everyone all the time. And that working with plants is not limited to your vessel. It's not limited to your field or to the space that you're in or to a particular perspective. The medicine can flow anywhere it's invited. So with those two things, if they're new to you, if they challenge you, if you don't agree with them, just put a pin in them as presuppositions. Just say, let's pretend that those things are true, right? So we'll just post-it note those to the wall. And now we're going to get into the real conversation that sort of leans into that. And maybe you could find other ways to make this conversation work. And that's awesome. Don't make it about mental gymnastics. Don't shrug. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But if you use those presuppositions, I think we'll make it work. So our actual conversation today is about solidarity medicine. This is something that's very important to me. It's part of my personal plant spirit path. It's something that I find very effective, and it's something that I find, first and foremost, changes me, then changes the connections between me and other, and then provides some kind of mystical support, which I have not fully reverse engineered, to other, okay? So solidarity, showing up with people, standing in empathy, maybe not fully understanding or having personal reference for something someone is going through, but being willing to be solid for them, to stand firm, to witness, to hold space, to be container. And I think, in the way of the world right now, and the reason why I'm doing this class right now, that aspect of bearing witness is very important, right? Seeing and hearing is very, very important. So solidarity medicine is about working with plants on behalf of others. It's about taking this concept of thoughts and prayers to a level that's ritualized and actualized, right? Not to disparage thoughts and prayers, like everybody's going to do what they're capable of doing, but we can go a step further. We can take thoughts and prayers and make them solid, bring them into the physical, give them matrix, give them crystallization, give them form, give them solidity, solidarity in our world. And I think that's important. Again, sometimes the import of this work is more about the person doing it than the person it's being done for. Sometimes the way that it changes us is the crucial part, right? Because if we're all in relationship, here's the presupposition of the web of infinite relationships, then it's impossible for one person to heal, to get better, to be more themselves, to be more harmonized, and not have that positively affect the whole, right? And this is why I tell people in clinical work, you're allowed to be selfish in your healing, because even though it feels like your healing happens in a vacuum, it happens all about you in your vessel. There's no way in the world that we live in the universe that we occupy, with the laws of nature, that someone can get even one tick, if we could somehow quantify it, one tick healthier and have that not affect all of us one tick, right? So the more we harmonize, the more all of it harmonizes. And this is one of the reasons I'm a student of and fan of Empedocles, right? He was a Sicilian agrarian philosopher from the early part of this millennium, who talked about harmony being the way of the universe, love being the way of the universe, and that the one thing we can do as citizens of the universe is create harmony, to nudge the wholeness of things deeper and deeper into states of harmony. We don't have to know what that is. We don't have to figure it all out. We don't have to comb through all the possibilities and fibers. We don't have to even explain ourselves, right? We just know that harmony is things fitting together in a pleasing way. It's the effortless flow of love, and that makes sense to everybody. So solidarity medicine is about working with the plants through ourselves in service of the wholeness of things. And we do this in this particular way that I'm going to show you, taking medicine on behalf of somebody else, right? So what's going to come up for a lot of people is, this is non-consensual. Like, you don't have somebody's consent to take medicine on their behalf. That's absolutely accurate, right? We're not reaching out to a group of people going through a really horrifying situation and saying, hey, do we have everybody's permission to do this thing that we feel is valuable, that we feel sends, some kind of something your way? Again, I don't understand it, so I can't explain it to you. Rather, we're just putting something out there. Like, we're just adding wisdom to the net. We're adding medicine to the web. And I think how it works its way in is where the individual consent comes in. I don't think this is forceful medicine. I don't think it's like, we're doing this and it has to happen our way. Like, if somebody's approaching it from some weird way, I think it self-regulates, right? And when you do it, I think you'll experience that too, because there is a self-governing nature to the universe, like nature, right? It's self-governing. It's self-governing wisdom. So when we put things out with the intent of it being harmonious, the web of things has a way of sort of like bringing equilibrium, bringing harmony, bringing cadence to these things. So we're not going to get a lot into that. We can get into a discussion about it in the comments if you want. So solidarity medicine is seeing someone or someone's or somewhen or somewhere going through a situation that for you rings disharmonious, like in your cognitive space, in your somatic space, in your liminal space. It doesn't feel right. I think there's nuance there too, right? This is why this is a hard conversation to have. So we take herbal medicine with the intent of allowing that medicine to move through us and out into the web towards the people that we are sending the blessing to. We're not forcing it. We're not pushing it. We're not saying how it has to happen or what needs to happen for it to count as a healing. That's none of our business ever. We're just sending the wisdom of the plants out. It's like giving somebody flowers, right? You're giving somebody flowers, and those flowers carry with them fragrance and color and medicine and symbolism, and how all of that lands in the being of the person you gift those flowers to is not really any of your business. Like, you don't have any control over it anyway, so you might as well like not worry about it. But the giving happens, right? The reciprocity happens, which strengthens the bond, the link between the two of you. Remember, we were talking earlier about the thread that connects me to this room, me to these clothes, me to this camera are strong right now because I'm in direct, active relationship with them. When we do gifting, when we do sacred reciprocity, the link between us and the person we're gifting to gets nourished and it gets a little beefier, right? So the connection gets stronger, which changes us and them and what's possible between us. And that's cool to me. So we take a medicine. Maybe we know a lot about plants and we know a lot of plants and we're in relationship with plants and we think, if I were to look at this situation as a pathology, here's the plant that I would want to put into the water supply, right? Here's the plant that I would want there to cool or pacify or relax or strengthen or embolden or protect, however it comes up for you. So we sit with that plant and we ask them to flow into those spaces. There's no right way to do this. People really want steps, but in plant spirit work, that's just not how this goes. Part of our journey with the plants is learning to let go of bullet points, right? And step into being part of, being in the rhythm of things. So one thing that I will do is choose a plant that's relevant to the situation, or maybe one that I'm close with, that I'm in deep relationship with that plant. And I will ask that plant to open the ways between us and to just show up for that person or those people or that place, and make their medicine, wisdom, guidance, protection, magic, transformation, whatever, possible, right? So it's very not pushy, not aggressive. That's not the sentiment here. So you can sit and connect, meditate on the person or persons or place or whatever, we'll say the target, right, or the recipient. You meditate on them to sort of bring the connection between you that exists always into alignment. And then you take the medicine, and as we've talked about in other classes, I talk a lot about in advanced classes on Patreon and stuff, you can guide or sort of flow that medicine into a particular part of your body or into a particular area of your life path, or just imagine the medicine moving, rippling out as light or a symbol or a feeling or sensation or a thought or just a belief towards the recipient, right? And then you just sort of sit with it and let it be. It seems incredibly simple, and it is. And generally the simple things are the powerful things because they have room for power. The complicated things don't leave a lot of room for a lot of power. They're too complex. The simple things, the empty vessels, can hold a lot. So that's it. I will preemptively address something that I don't think maybe we'll see here in the comments, but I see a lot on the internet, which is that's not enough. You're not doing it right. You should show up for this situation in the following ways in order for your solidarity to count. If you're not doing this, then you're not doing anything. Disagree. We all do what we can. And for folks who work with plants, here's something you can add to whatever it is you're doing. Whatever it is you're doing might be thoughts and prayers. It might be financial support. It might be signal boosting content on social media. It might be going to rallies. It might be the way you vote. It might be how you choose to spend your money. It might be companies that you do or do not support. It could be ways that you're changing your perspective so that you're moving through the world, learning things from your discomfort or learning things from your empathy with what other people go through and changing yourself, which again, then changes the whole. But this counts, I know there's a lot of people on the internet. There's always a lot of people saying a lot of things, but there are a lot of people saying that if you're not doing the following 3 things, then you're the worst person, you're on the wrong side of history, and you're doing nothing. I just don't agree. I think you are doing something. Could you do more? That's up to you to decide. And some of us are doing what we can do. Some of us have, limitations on what we're able to how solid we're able to be for other people for different reasons, and so I think that's important. So solidarity medicine, we're sitting down, we're connecting to the recipient, we're asking the plants to just be available to them, to send their wisdom, their magic, their protection, their clearing, whatever, right, to that group of people, that person, that situation. And then we take our hands off of it because we're not the ones with the big perspective here, right? The plants see the web from an angle that's different than ours and bigger from that canopy position. And we just do that work. And again, you will notice, as everybody does that I have shown this to, that you're the first person to benefit. You're the first person to change. Something adjusts in you, which makes you show up in the world differently, which makes the way that you empathize and stand solidly with other people different, which creates change, right? And then it nourishes the connection, the awareness that we're all connected and that everything that everybody does influences and affects everybody else. And then the medicine gets to the recipient. Like, it's almost like that's not the important part of the work, right? And that's the mystery of this, right? It's something you have to sit with and experience rather than have me or somebody else try to explain it to you. Some things in this work are beyond explanation, so we call them mysteries. We can point at them, but we can't really explain, right? Examples of mysteries: love and electricity or energy, right? We can point at them, we can talk around them, but to truly define them is very difficult. So try this, please. Bring it into your practice one day a week or daily. For those folks who are doing deeper work with me over on Patreon and you're doing our monthly, our lunar cycle plant spirit journeys, this is a beautiful way that you can extend your work with those plants, maybe a week or two in as you get to know them and really open the ways between you. You can extend your work to others, which is very cool, right? That we can show up that way. And it's transformative. So for folks who have already done this from other classes or guided stuff that I've done, please share something below. If you have thoughts, if you disagree, I want to hear from you, right? Discussion is super important in this work. And I want to do that and I want to learn from you all. So hopefully this was inspiring, will give you something to think about, or maybe inspire you to create your own kind of ritual embodied, process of solidarity, because I think, it's important. We say things like now more than ever, right? But now more than ever. So with that, blessings of peace and plenty. Thanks so much for being here. I'll see you next time.